Yeah.
And so you said that last time he was found at those apartments down the street.
Charleston K, yeah.
Is there a friend of his that lives there or something?
I have no clue. He's changed his entire friend group, to be honest. He went from honors classes and a football player to
whoever these people are.
whoever these people are. I know he's smoking and drinking.
Okay.
I've seen it on his Snapchat.
Okay.
He's been stealing from us, and that's what arose yesterday. Is he stole $100 out of my wallet?
Okay.
And he meets people down at the gate to buy weed.
The look on the mother's face.
Driver license? Yes, sir. Have a license? No, it's not a driver license. All right, tell me what happened. Are you hurt?
Hey,
The first time I realized the police didn't see me as a victim, I was standing barefoot on my front porch, heart pounding so hard I thought I might pass out, while an officer asked me, real calm, almost bored, so what did he do before he ran? Not, where is he? Not, is he safe? What did he do? My cousin Jamal was 15, gone for 3 days, no phone, no money, no meds he actually needed, and somehow the conversation already felt like a negotiation over guilt, like the default setting was that he must have earned whatever happened to him. I remember laughing for half a second, not because it was funny, but because my brain couldn't accept it yet. I said, he's a kid, he didn't run, he disappeared. The officer nodded, scribbled something, and said, we'll keep an eye out. That phrase, keep an eye out, haunted me. It sounded like what you say about a stray dog, not a missing child. The neighborhood knew Jamal. Mixed kid, East Ridge side of town, good athlete before life started hitting back. Teachers called him distracted. Cops called him at risk. Nobody ever called him in danger. The turning point didn't come from the police. It came from teenagers whispering, screenshots passed around, a name no one wanted to say out loud. A teacher. And that's when the story cracked open, because suddenly the question wasn't just where Jamal was, it was why nobody had looked in the one place that should have terrified them the most. When they finally found Jamal, he wasn't locked in a basement or drugged or tied up like people imagine. He was sitting on a couch, scrolling his phone, wearing clean clothes, inside a quiet house with trimmed hedges and a flag by the mailbox. Suburban calm. Respectable calm. The woman who answered the door, we'll call her Lauren Pierce, smiled like she'd been expecting guests. Early 30s, high school guidance counselor, soft voice, master's degree framed on the wall behind her. She said, I was just trying to help him. The officer said, you didn't think to call his family? She paused, then said, I didn't think they were safe people. That sentence landed heavier than handcuffs. Jamal wouldn't look at me when they brought him out. Shame does that to kids. Confusion, too. He thought he was choosing safety. He didn't know the cost yet. Lauren was arrested, eventually. Charged carefully, not violently, not urgently. Paperwork heavy, tone polite. No sirens, no spectacle. Watching it felt uneven. Like the system was correcting itself, but reluctantly. Like it hated admitting the mistake. People called it a win. She lost her job. She can't work with kids again. Justice was served. But here's the thing. The win didn't erase the 4 days nobody looked hard. It didn't erase the assumptions written down before the facts. And it definitely didn't erase the bigger question gnawing at me. Why did it take so long when the danger was right there? This is the part nobody explains honestly, so let me break it down the way an old detective finally did for me. Off the record, leaning against his cruiser, voice low. Police work runs on probability, not justice. Probability. They're trained explicitly to prioritize cases based on patterns, runaway statistics, demographics, prior behavior, neighborhood data. If a kid fits a profile labeled high likelihood voluntary absence, urgency drops, resources shift. That profile, it leans heavily on race, class, and zip code, whether the policy admits it or not. In Jamal's case, the boxes were already checked before the report printed. Teen male, East Ridge address, previous behavior issues at school, social media posts that looked rough if you squinted. So the strategy wasn't rescue, it was monitoring. Meanwhile, the idea that a credentialed educator from a clean neighborhood could be involved triggered internal friction. That accusation requires warrants, meetings, confirmation. Nobody wants to be the officer who's wrong about someone respectable. That hesitation isn't written as racism in any manual, but it lives in the gap between action and doubt. The system moves fastest when the story fits what it already expects. When it doesn't, it slows down, and kids pay for that delay. Now let's talk about the uncomfortable middle ground, because this is where people either shut down or start yelling. Was Lauren Pierce a cartoon villain? No, but what she did, criminal, manipulative, and wrong, absolutely. Here's the truth most people avoid. Some authority figures convince themselves they're rescuers. They frame control as care, isolation as protection. And when the child comes from a family or community society already doubts, that delusion gets social backup. Lauren didn't see Jamal as a full person. She saw a project, a broken thing she could fix. And the police, at first, mirrored that same framing just from the opposite direction. They didn't see Jamal as endangered, they saw him as complicated. That's how bias works at its most dangerous level. Not hatred, convenience, mental shortcuts. I've seen this before, thinking, that ignores the fact that every case is still a human being. Jamal later told me, she kept saying I was mature for my age. That sentence should chill anyone who's listening closely. The misunderstanding wasn't mutual. The power imbalance was real, and the system failed to intervene quickly because it trusted the wrong signals, job titles, tone of voice, home address, over the reality of a missing child. When the truth finally forced its way through, the victory felt hollow. Necessary, yes, satisfying on paper, but incomplete in the ways that matter. Here's where people split. Some say the police did the best they could with the information they had. Others say the delay proves the system is fundamentally tilted. Both sides talk past each other because they're afraid of the same thing, admitting that bias doesn't require evil intent to cause real harm. Jamal went home, but he didn't go back to normal. He doesn't trust easily, he flinches when authority raises his voice, and he knows now, at 15, something most people don't learn much later, that protection in this country is conditional. Lauren Pierce walks free with restrictions, a record, consequences, but not the kind Jamal carries. So here's the question I want you to wrestle with, not answer quickly. If the system reacts slower because of who a victim is that failure accidental or structural? And if you break the law to help, does intention matter when the harm is real? We need to say this clearly. Violating custody laws, abusing authority, ignoring missing child alerts, those are crimes, and crimes carry consequences for a reason. Sympathy doesn't override the law. Good intentions don't erase damage. At the same time, pretending bias doesn't exist guarantees it keeps operating quietly. So I'll leave you with this. If this story made you uncomfortable, good. Sit with it. Talk about it. Argue in the comments. Share your perspective. But don't dismiss it. Live right, follow the law, protect kids. Question assumptions, especially your own. Because justice doesn't fail loudly most of the time. It fails slowly. And only when people speak up does it start moving again. Drop your thoughts below. Was this negligence or something deeper? And what should accountability really look like?